Hey, what's up, good people? My name is Larry Jones. This is Stock Up with Larry Jones. We're in Studio C on this beautiful Sunday. Listen, there's going to be a lot. This title was not clickbait. This is something you need to know now. A lot of you are new to the markets and you haven't experienced anything like this, especially if you came into the market after COVID or since COVID, okay? You haven't really experienced anything like this. Those of us that have been investing for a while, we have, and I have many times, and I'm going to show you some data that you need to keep your eye on. Again, this is Larry Jones, Stock Up with Larry Jones. Hit the like and subscribe, notification bell if you're new. But if you've been rolling with us for a while, continue to hit that like button, okay? I want to go over some things that are extremely important. So I'm going to take my time and cause you to think, because I'm going to make this statement. And let me look at you in the eye with my allergy infused eyes. I'm going to make a lot of money off of this tariff war, okay? I'm going to make it off of these tariffs that turn into a trade war. Larry Jones is going to make a lot of money. Let me front end that. And I'm going to tell you why and how. All right. So we had a lot. We had China impose a 34% reciprocal tariff on us after the president's White House announcement of his tariff layouts. Okay. A lot of things that are going on. You're going to see the market probably further get hit. There are some tariffs that take place on the 9th. And then China's take place a day later. Their reciprocal tariffs on the 10th. All right. So now we don't know at this point fully what the president may do. He may go ahead and say, OK, well, I'm going to come on another reciprocal tariff on China, and then back and forth. You guys get it, right? It could be a trade war. I'm just preparing you, okay? But there's money to be made. Now, also, too, the things that you people need to consider is that these other countries, like I've been stating, could be getting together, forming a plan to, okay, you supply these goods, we'll pay this. You supply these goods, we'll pay this. And they all could collectively hit America with a tariff. And I know some of you guys going, they all need us. That's true. But there are some goods and minerals that we need from other countries to continue to prosper. Some. I agree, and any economists agree, and anybody that could do math agrees that America has the short end of the stick with these tariffs, okay? That's not even up for discussion. The question is, why, or should I say, how do we leverage it? And for those of you that don't understand, you can't just snap your finger and onshore all U.S. manufacturing. It takes time. Now, Lutnick had a discussion that I'm going to play some snippets from, because these are the questions we want to hear. Usually, I really don't like this lady because she always cuts people off. She just hammers with the questions. But this time I'm glad she did, because we need answers. Take a listen.
You saw absolute panic in the global markets. Did you expect that, or were you surprised?
No, I think the point is you need to reset the power of the United States of America and reset it against all our allies and our enemies alike. The idea that all the countries of the world can run trade surpluses with America and buy our things with us. Remember, $1.2 trillion. In 1980, we were a net investor, meaning we owned more of the rest of the world than they owned of us.
Yeah, it's a different world.
And now,
it's a different market.
Now they own $18 trillion of us net. So that means the rest of the world, every year when we run a $1.2 trillion deficit, The rest of the world buys $1.2 trillion of America, and it goes up and up and up. And eventually, we're not going to own America, and we are going to be owned by the rest of the world. Imagine if we had a war and we can't build a ship, we can't fly a plane, we can't build our own planes.
Because what I hear you laying out there is a plan to reindustrialize the United States and to bring companies back to America. For a CEO to choose to invest.
Well said.
But for a CEO to make those decisions, you know this, they need certainty. They need to know if it costs them more to stay overseas or if it costs them more to move here. So can you give them clarity so that they don't just cut jobs because they're dealing with the cost of these tariffs? Can you tell them how long they're staying in place?
Absolutely. The United States of America is going to protect the people who invest in America. Trillions and trillions of dollars, you heard the president speak about it, are coming to invest in America. This is the economy of the world. We are the consumer of the world, and companies need to build it here, and we will protect them for building it here.
Okay,
we will help the American workers. Yes, American workers are more expensive, but they're better. We're going to protect all the factories that come to America, and that's what's coming here. So
okay,
the president
is the 10% tariff
He's going to
permanent?
protect them. Well, remember, this is a national security issue.
I got it. Is the 10% tariff
our budget
permanent?
deficit? That, you know, the laws of America are the laws of America. He would like it to be that we need to protect the companies that invest here, and we are going to protect the companies that invest here. That is the policy of the United States of America. That's why trillions of dollars are coming here. The ripoff of the United States of America is over. All these companies are going to come and invest here. That's what they're doing. That's why they've committed trillions of dollars. They know this is the economy.
Mr. Secretary,
this is the place to go.
Mr. Secretary, the campaign's over. You won. So I'm asking what the plan is. So the Treasury Secretary said on another network, we're going to hold the course. It's not the kind of thing you can negotiate away in days or weeks. That makes it sound like the tariffs are staying in place at least for days or weeks. Is that correct, or is the president considering postponing implementation to negotiate?
There is no postponing. They are definitely going to stay in place for days and weeks. That is sort of obvious. The president needs to reset global trade. Everybody has a trade surplus, and we have a trade deficit. We are paying away our future and our lives. The countries of the world are ripping us off, and it's got to end. The president has made it crystal clear. This is the policy. We are going to protect the factories that come build in America. We are going to protect them. They're going to be successful. That's why they're going to build in America, the greatest economy in the earth. All of these companies are going to come and build here.
So when three of the president's other economic advisors who are on other networks today say that 50 different countries have been calling the White House to try to talk about the tariffs, what does that mean? Because that makes it sound like there is a negotiation, which is different from saying the tariffs are permanent. To be clear, April 9th, the so-called retaliatory tariffs, the reciprocal tariffs, I should say, are those coming, or are they open to negotiation?
The tariffs are coming. He announced it, and he wasn't kidding. The tariffs are coming. Of course they are.
Okay. Is the administration considering any kind of offset, any kind of subsidy? You mentioned the first administration, there was some bailout to farmers to help them deal with the pain from Chinese retaliation. Are you looking at that now?
I have not participated in any meetings with respect to that. The country is focused on, you realize trillions of dollars of factories are going to be built in America. That's huge GDP. The factories being built in America are huge.
That takes years. And you've said that robots are going to fill those jobs. So those aren't union
it's really automated
jobs.
It's automated factories, but the key is who's going to build the factories, who's going to operate the factories, who's going to make them work. Great American workers. You know,
you
we
said
are going
robots
to replace
on other
the
networks.
armies of millions of people. Well, Remember, the army of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones, that kind of thing is going to come to America. It's going to be automated, and great Americans, the trade craft of America, is going to fix them, is going to work on them. They're going to be mechanics. There's going to be HVAC specialists. There's going to be electricians. The trade craft of America are high school educated Americans. The core to our workforce is going to have the greatest resurgence of jobs in the history of America to work on these high-tech factories, which are all coming to America. That's what's going to build our next generation of America.
Are you concerned in the time it will take for a company to move to America that it will benefit China in the immediate term, that other markets will look to other suppliers instead of dealing with the United States?
That is ridiculous. The problem is everyone in the world sells to us. Our economy is the consumer of the world. We are the only one with a trade deficit. The rest of the world has a trade surplus. This is the moment that the United States of America takes hold of itself. And Donald Trump's been talking about this his whole life. This is Donald Trump's agenda, and we're all here to help him execute it.
And we will take him at his word quite literally. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Now, let me say this. And I'm going to front end this video again with saying this, all right? Well, not front end, and we're in the middle now. I'm going to tell you that if you are just looking to make your money back, those of you that are nearing retirement, I understand you don't have any dry powder. You're getting ready to retire, or you have retired. I understand you're not making any money and you don't have any dry powder. But for those of us that have dry powder, if you're simply looking just to make your money back, you're missing it. This is a time that you should be looking to actually make money. Now, I got my iPad here. I got some notes. Let me tell you about these numbers, and you can rewind this. You can take this to the bank. Okay. Remember how I was saying that the onset of something that hits the market hard, the market usually bottoms out way before the situation is over. Remember when I was telling you guys the bottom is generally 7 to 11 days, right? And I'm glad that Lutnick got hammered that way, because we just need information regardless of who you voted for. But listen to this, right? And I was researching this on last night when I should have been, resting and just watching TV. The Great Recession of 2008. Listen to this. The Great Recession of 2008 actually began December of 2007, right? And it ended in 2009. So the Great Recession started in 2007, December, and then it ended in 2009. We call it the Great Recession of 2008. I remember that like it was yesterday. I was actively trading, made a lot of money, and the only thing I regret is that I didn't have more money to put in the market at that time, right? You guys have heard me say that over and over and over. Well, let me tell you that the official announcement by the bureau that makes this announcement, not the Fed, that we are in the recession, that announcement was made December 1st of 2008, an entire year after the recession had started, okay? But it bottomed out in 2008. So listen, the official announcement was made in 2008. Stock market bottomed out in 2008. And the recession continued to go on for another year. And this is why I say, if you just plan on making your money back, you're missing it. All right. Here's another one. The states officially started closing in March 15 of 2020 for COVID. Remember, March 15 of 2020. I remember a lot of the states around here where I am now, it was March 16th, right? So March 15, 2020, states started closing, right, from COVID. All right. And then here's what I want you to understand. So the states, it's official. We're in full-on blown COVID. The nation is shutting down March 15, 2020. Stock market bottomed out March 20th of 2020. 5 days later, right? The government said that COVID was officially declared over in May of 2023, right? So you see that in March 15th, here's the onset of something hitting the market and hitting the world, right? Market bottoms out 5 days later, not 5 months later, not 5 years later, 5 days later. So my point is the onset of something hitting the market is generally when the market tanks the most. And at some point you should buy, okay? And you can go back to 2020, you can go back 2022, you can go back to Black Monday, you can go back even every single war. The market bottoms early. And so this is the information a lot of you need to really be focusing on. I think I covered everything. Okay. Yeah, I covered everything. So my point is if you're just looking to get your money back in this time of opportunity, you're missing it. And that I will tell you. I always say what I say is not a suggestion for you to buy, hold, or sell. Well, what I'm saying to you right now, and I am saying this to you, that if you don't start buying before this is over, you've missed it. Larry said that. I'll take that to the bank. Okay. Regardless of who you voted for, regardless of your political party, your ideology, these are the facts. I have facts for you that's going to make you money. And now, do we know when this is going to be over? Nope, we don't know. There's mixed messages that's been coming out of the White House. Let's just call it what it is. Mixed messages. And so you and I, we're trying to find out, where do we position ourselves? Okay. It doesn't matter who you voted for. You and I are trying to find out, where is the bottom? Well, the fact is you won't know that until after the fact. But here's something you also need to know. At some point, it's safe to buy. And the money that I deployed, don't cry for me, Argentina. I deployed it at the right time for me. And I still have a ton of dry powder left. I've spoke all over the world. If I've spoke for a convention or conference all over the world, the one thing I've been saying, and I've said it over 50 to 100 times on this page, I've been saying that you should, every dollar that you invest in the stock market, for every dollar you invest in the stock market, only invest 25 cents of that. And I said that. I said it over and over and over. Leave me a coffee cup if you remember that. And now's the time to start deploying some of that capital. Now, you're not going to see a return tomorrow. This may be a long time coming. But here's what I can tell you. Some of the stock that people have had for years, some of the ETFs that people have had for years, you are now getting at that price, okay? And I don't mean that exact price, but the percentage, okay? Because GDP, the market is always looking to go up, and GDP is always looking to go up. But here's what could happen if tariffs are prolonged. Loss of jobs, high inflation. Those two things will surely plummet us into a recession. So whether that happens or not, because the Great Recession, I showed you that it was still time to buy before the bottom. So in all thy getting, get an understanding, right? So there's a lot that I have to discuss with you guys, but I'm just going to try to just cut it off right here. And because it's Sunday, I'm going to close by saying this, right? I put my trust in man. I put my trust in God and not in man. Let me say that again. I put my trust in God and not in any man. And I didn't put my trust in Obama. I didn't put my trust in Biden. I don't put my trust in Trump. Now, just the fact of me saying that, one or two of you had a problem with that. And if you had a problem with that, then I would challenge you to read your word. The only person the only being I put my trust in is God. Okay. And that's it. So now that does not mean that people can make some great decisions or some not so great decisions. But you and I, whether you're Democrat or Republican, whether you're far left or far right, you and I are going to concentrate on the money. And the only thing I ask you here on this page is to put people over politics. Let's keep a clean house and let's focus on money, including me. All right. I'm not perfect. And but here's one thing I can do. I'm going to make money. Larry's going to make money off of this whole deal. And that's what I want you to do. Why? Larry, money isn't anything. Well, they're going to make money on both sides. Trust me. Okay. So I want you guys to, let's stay focused. Let's make money. And the information that I just provided you shows when something like this hits the market and causes widespread panic, at some point you should have purchased. And I just have my rules. I stuck to it. Market down 10%. QQQ led first because it was tech heavy. I started buying and I bought more at negative 14%. But here's what I do. I buy a little bit in the correction, under a correction. So 10%, I buy some. And then if it drops down to negative 15%, I buy some. And then if it drops down negative 20%, which is a bear market, that's when I deploy the bigger chunk of my money. Okay. So that's how I buy down. And then I just chill. Now, for those of you that just want to put some money in this market and you want to walk away, 20% is negative 20%. That's a good place to start. And that's the way you could do that and just walk away. I could show you the history of the stock market. You could do that, walk away. Don't look at your portfolio every day and you've made money, right? So here's what I'm going to do. In my money moves, which is going to be the only link in this video, I'm going to attempt to show you guys options. Now, my money moves is just one price. There are no other rooms, less than $1 a day. And I'm going to attempt to show you guys options. And I am going to, what is May Day, May 12th or something like that? I'm going to attempt to have you guys ready to execute your first option May Day, right? This may last long. And you say, some of you guys may say, well, that's too late. No, it's not. If you're doing puts now, you're making money. But the reverse of that will come at some point if you're doing calls. And then once you have this skill, you can make money every day. So I'm going to attempt to start this coming Tuesday. I'm going to open up a new room and just say options. And then I want you to watch the options and then the class. So what we're going to do is do this thing backwards. I'm going to explain it in the simplest of terms. Now, some of you that are pro options traders, this ain't for you. But for some of you guys that want to enter into that market, I'm going to explain it my way. Talk to me like I'm 3. And then I'm going to get you guys in to making money. And then while you're making money with options, then we're going to start to really study the charts and then the indicators that's going to help you. All right. So I have a method that I believe that everyone could understand. All right. So I'm going to leave it right there. Money Moves is going to be the only link in this video. I suggest you come on this journey with me. All right. I love you guys. I've always got the truth for you guys. And even the haters, I love you too. All right. All right, good people. We'll see you later. Live, love, laugh, and learn.